What is he drinking today?
It's a protein shake with 3 shots of coffee in it, aka the fucking dream. The T-1000 is amongst the most terrifying and eminently recognisable villains in pop culture. It is a tireless killing machine that can run forever, assume the form of a loved one, and stab you in the dick with its own dick. It's also a role that the actor playing it got by staring into a camera for about 5 minutes straight.
Before we get on to casting the T-1000,
Yes.
what are the origins of it?
Yeah, 'cause it does seem a bit weird, doesn't it, that the T-1000, especially like played by Robert Patrick, like, you know, quite a lithe gentleman, to like be the foil to the T-800 or T-850, depending on which film. I forget which one it is in Terminator 2.
He's the model T-101. Oh no, it's the model 101.
It's Model 101, which is supposedly, which is the framework they put on it, and it's a T-800 underneath. But we said this before, and someone like smartly corrected us, presumably like pushing some glass onto the bridge of an nose, going, well, actually, it's the T-850 in that film, and now I forget which one it is. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, let's put it that way. It seems a bit weird to place like this, what amounts to just a guy, which to be fair, that's what Robert Patrick is. He's just a dude in it against like just the Austrian oak himself. And the idea was like when James Cameron's thinking, okay, I need to think of like, you know, something I can face off with the T-800. So that's Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger. Going bigger and badder is not going to do it because Arnold Schwarzenegger is like the width of a fridge at this point in time. It's like there is no one out there bigger than him that will just not look stupid, considering that we established in the first movie that these things are designed for infiltration above all else. And there's a lot of like criticism about that, isn't there? Like, oh yeah, the T-800, that's not going to get anywhere for infiltration. But you don't know this, folks, but if you were buff in the 80s and you were naked, you'd get anywhere. Because that's a common criticism of the Terminator movies, isn't it? It's like, oh, the T-800, the T-850, it's designed for infiltration, but it looks like a huge Austrian bodybuilder. You say, well, to be fair, would you stop Arnold Schwarzenegger walking anywhere? And it always baffles me that in the start of both the first one and the second one, a guy who is 6'4", clearly weighs like 280 pounds of solid fucking muscle with a penis the size of a baseball bat is walking down the street. It's like, that's not a guy you fuck with, is it? Like, you do not fuck with that guy. And like, he walks into the bar and you get like all the bikers start a fight with him. Really? Like, do you think you're going to win this fight? And do you ever hear what Arnold Schwarzenegger did for that scene?
No.
Because he wanted everyone to, like, you know, look surprised when he walked in. Because he wasn't actually naked, but what he did is he bought the smallest pair of, like, budgie smuggler board shorts he could find. I think they're, like, bright pink, and wore them. So when he walked into the bar for the first time and all the extras were in there, their reaction was, like, one of shock to make it like he had a giant cock. And I think that's a gambit that could have gone really wrong. Because obviously he walked in, people got shocked. But what about if he'd walked in and they all started laughing? That does not look good for the
Terminator. Laughing and pointing at his crotch.
It's like, what is that? That's like, that could have gone really poorly. But then again, would you laugh at that man if he walked in? I don't care if he walks in and looks like he's got a bird's nest down there with like a quail's egg in it. I'm not laughing at that fucking dude. He's clearly big enough to end my life. He can change like my destiny with one punch.
So why did they come up with the T-1000 as a counter for the Arnie one?
Yeah, you just don't, because we've got to get it wrong regardless, aren't we? We've already pissed someone off in the audience, so you know what? Fuck it, right? Well, the T-1000 was envisioned as being like the perfect like counter to the T-800 because I think in the words of James Cameron, if the T-800 is going to be a Panzer tank, the T-1000 is a Porsche. And that was his thinking, like the T-800 is like brute force. The T-1000 is efficiency. It's like, if it's one's a sledgehammer, one's a scalpel. And the latter is arguably better suited for covert infiltration and like, you know, time murder, which is why they also gave like the T-1000 abilities better suited for that sort of thing, such as like being able to mimic other humans, change its voice, and turn its fingers into knives, which I think is like the best ability ever. Like the fact that it just turns its fingers into knives.
You say that, but turning into a floor is also pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's so good. Like that's an ability you should have used all the time. So if when you see that's probably the part of the movie where I realise the T-1000 is unbeatable. Like, they cannot top this as like an opponent in these movies, because the fact it can become the fucking floor is ridiculous. When it's a T-800, just be distrustful of all large buff men. When it's a T-1000 after you, though, you've got to be distrustful of the fucking floor, ceiling and walls. Like, you cannot walk into, you could walk into a blank, featureless room and not know for sure there's not a Terminator in there. That's terrifying. That's psychological warfare on a level I can't even comprehend.
So what look did Cameron have in mind for the T-1000?
He actually had a very specific look. So specific, in fact, that all the concept art of the T-1000, after the basic idea for it had been established, resembled exactly one man, Billy Idol, the musician, who was in line to play the T-1000, but apparently fell off a motorcycle prior to filming and couldn't commit to the role, necessitating a recast. Enter Robert Patrick.
So Robert Patrick wasn't chosen for the role, he auditioned with everyone else?
Yes, but his audition stood out to James Cameron because Robert Patrick did some research beforehand and went, okay, what am I playing? The T-1000, an unfeeling killing machine from the future. And according to him, he walked in, I said hello to all the producers, and said, okay, Patrick, or Mr. Patrick, whenever you're ready, show us what you've got. And he waited, and he stood, and he turned towards the camera, and he stared directly into it without saying a word. And it's I think the stare he did was like the now famous T-1000 stare that Robert Patrick always gets asked to do. And I think there's a clip out there of him doing it as an older man, he could still fucking pull it off. And there's an interview with him where the interviewer asked him to do it, and he goes, I'm sorry, I can't, because I can't maintain that level of intensity right now. Which makes me think he practiced at home, which he must have fucking done, because obviously he got the role. James Cameron watched back all the footage of all the people who come in to audition for the role and said, Robert Patrick was the only one who actually scared me, so he got the role. It's one of the things Robert Patrick did while training to be the T-1000 is he learned not to blink. And I think there's someone who went through the film recently and he blinks twice on screen. And one of them is when he's firing a gun. And that's just fucking commitment right there, isn't it? Because Robert Patrick did the same kind of weapons training as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he did all of this in secret because he didn't want anyone to see how he fired the gun. And he said, I spent most of my time practicing how to fire a gun without flinching or blinking, and also learned to fire it with both hands. Because I'm a robot, I don't have a favoured hand. Robots aren't right or left-handed, they just do what's most efficient at the time. Which is why throughout the movie you'll see him use his right and left hand depending on what's most efficient at the time. And it's crazy, and as well he learned to reload without blinking or looking at the gun. So in that vein, let's go for the most impressive feat of shooting in a movie. Dante from Devil May Cry 4, specifically when he shoots his own bullets into the back of a sword to drive it into a statue so the guy who's trapped inside the statue for story reasons can grab it and cut his way out. Something he also does in Devil May Cry 3 when he's running down the side of a tower and he throws his sword and then shoots it so it goes faster. Oh, have you got any?
Which game is it where the two characters engage each other and start shooting each other, but all the bullets hit in mid-air? Is that Devil May Cry?
That's Devil May Cry, yeah. When you fight Dante, whenever you shoot him, he shoots your bullets out of the air. But then again, another example of that is in Red Dwarf, if you've seen it.
Yeah.
In Red Dwarf, which is a British sitcom set in space, they go into a VR world where I think it's Daniel Jules, the cat, they go into cowboy world and he becomes the Riviera Kid. And he steps up to someone's I'm the fastest hand in the West. He goes, well, I'm the Riviera Kid. And he shoots bullets out of the fucking air. And it's what? How did you do this? You crazy son of a bitch. I love it. what other crazy bullshit with guns are we missing? Because there's one in my head, and what's the one where they can like throw bullets?
Throw bullets?
They throw bullets, like they throw the gun and the bullet moves.
You mean Wanted?
Yes!
Curving the
Where
bullet.
they curve the bullet around the room, and then Angelina Jolie does the greatest feat ever, where she shoots a perfectly circular bullet and kills everyone, including herself. She does that is the most perfect 360 no-scope ever seen.
So Robert Patrick was training in secret for the role?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, he trained with like the gun expert on set, but he didn't want anyone to see like how he moved or anything like that, so it'd be more of a surprise when he actually like showcased it on set.
I assume part of this training was the run.
Of course it was, yeah. And Robert Patrick says like, the run especially, I kept that shit hidden. I didn't want anyone to know like how fast I could run, because then it'd be like the shock and surprise that it would evoke would be more genuine when it was captured on camera. And I think on the commentary track for a special edition of Terminator 2, Robert Patrick goes like, one of the most difficult aspects of the training was learning to run without showing any outward signs of fatigue. Because obviously I'm a robot, I don't get tired. And he's like, that's the hardest part, because obviously I had to learn to breathe through my nose and not look like I'm knackered, even though I'm sprinting at like cheetah speed. And the most hilarious part about this, though, is that he actually trains a little bit too hard. Because you know the first scene where we see the T-1000 just haul some fucking ass?
Yeah, after the mall.
After the mall scene where, like, you know, little John Connor gets on his motorcycle and the T-1000 chases him the fuck down. Robert Patrick ruined that shot because on the first day of filming, when he debuted The Run, he caught John Connor. He caught him. So like, the film franchise ends right there because that scene, remember as well in that scene, John Connor's on a fucking motorcycle and Robert Patrick, he says like, yeah, they shouted action, I kicked my way through a door and I see little Edward Furlong on a motorcycle and I caught him. And like the crew's like, how fucking fast are you? And he went, I guess I'm pretty fast.
I said, okay, we can't use that take. John Connor just died and the world just ended. I said, okay, Jack, are we gonna come out of the hole a little faster this time? He said, yeah. And Robert still almost caught us.
The one part of Terminator 2 that I don't like is when the T-1000 stops chasing the car. When they start to take off, I would have loved it if it was like It Follows. Well, like, they drive for like a good 5 minutes or something like that. Jody does the bit thing like, you've got no headlights on. He goes, no, I see everything. And you see him, you can see all the road with his like robo eyes. I'd like him to look in the wing mirror and still see Robert Patrick still sprinting behind them in the background. I love that idea of that. Robert Patrick trained in secret on the first day of film and he caught John Connor. I kind of wish that was the ending to that film, because then they'd have never made Terminator 3 or Genesis. And then we could have like, it'd be a bittersweet ending, but it'd be better than what we got.
You know how we were talking about Wanted earlier?
Yes.
And we've just said about how the T-1000 like could have caught John Connor immediately.
Yes.
There's that scene where Angelina Jolie is pressuring McAvoy to get the shot. And it's like, she's like, you'll curve it because I'm stood here and you'll curve it. And he doesn't. And now she just put the bullet through her head.
Just shoots Angelina Jolie in the first 3 seconds of the movie.
Just runs away, goes in hiding, that's the end of the film.
The thing is, I love Wanted because like there's that great, it does something that I don't think any other film like about like superpowers or like, you know, pseudo superpowers has ever done. And it's Joey shoots the wings off the fly.
Yeah.
And it looks so cool in slow motion when he goes boom, boom, boom. What it does, it smash cuts to showing you what it looks like to everyone else in the room. And it just looks like he's panic firing at a fucking waste paper bin with a pistol. And I want to see that in movies more. It's like when I play Rainbow Six and a guy surprises me and I just go, and just panic fire into his dick region. It's so good. Oh man, speaking of gun fu and Rainbow Six, I've got to mention it. Me and a friend of mine, we used to play a lot of Rainbow Six, like Terrorist Hunt especially. And like, he pulled off what I think is the coolest move I've ever seen. Like, John Wick eat your fucking heart out, because he was fighting some terrorists, and I got killed. We were playing co-op, and there was one terrorist left, and he's on a rooftop, and my mate goes, for Karl, and he pulled out a Desert Eagle and ran towards the terrorist who had a burst fire, like, submachine gun, and my mate went, huh, and the terrorist fired a burst fire there, and he went, huh, and dodged to the side, burst fire again, burst right, and he got that far away from the terrorist, put the Desert Eagle into his character model and just went, for Karl, and just pulled the trigger. And then just like, comes up, you win, fires the Desert Eagle into the air, just empties the clip for my honour. I want to see that from another angle. I want to do it like the Halo 3 style theatre mode and just see this like Rainbow Six operative just dodging point blank range gunfire with a pistol and just putting the gun in the terrorist head. So, oh man, that game was so good.